All right, from an alignment standpoint, all right, we're going to play 7 yards off the ball for our corners or press, and they're going to play inside or outside leverage based on their divider rules. The safeties are going to play 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, and now because we're in 2-by-2, if we have a detached number 2, those guys are going to make sure that they align inside of that number 2. All right, to prevent that guy from crossing their face and pretty much getting into the weakness of the defense, which is the middle of the field and the 2 high. All right, if that guy does cross our face, we have to be top shoulder. All right, we cannot let the ball get thrown over our head into the middle of the field. All right, and the same is going to be in the strong 90 technique. All right, and they're going to apex versus any detached number 2, and the Mike is going to be in the strong 10. All right, the Will is going to be in the weak 30. If he's in the box, if he has a detached number 2, he's going to be apex as well. All right, as far as the coverage adjustments, in certain situations, we will make a cloud call to one side. All right, if we make a cloud call to that side, our guys know that we're going to play a read cover 2 to that side. All right, this allows us to maintain our gap integrity while also being sound versus the pass. So basically, if that number 2 is detached so far that backer cannot now necessarily, realistically be responsible for an inside gap and take 2 to the flats, then what we'll do is we'll cloud that side. Now that backer becomes a curl player. The corner is now the flat player to that side. All right, and the safety now is playing over top to that side. In that situation, that backer knows now that the safety is not in the run fit, so now he has to box anything run game wise back inside to the Mike linebacker. It also changes our responsibilities in terms of zone read with the bubble and or RPO. All right, the front will determine to which side we play read to. All right, we can also adjust to tight splits or stack alignments by 1 and 2 and play a read 2. The reason why we do that is because now sometimes when we get tight splits or a stack alignment, in our mind, we're expecting some type of a quick exchange from 1 and 2. So versus trying to get those guys to now call out the switch or, say, hey, who's going to take the post and who's going to take the corner? Because in quarters, we understand that the safety has 2 vertical, the corner has 1 vertical. Now, both those guys are pushing vertical exchanging. Now, it can be a little cloudy because if one guy stays on his guy and the other guy is expecting to switch, now you have a guy running a vertical route that's wide open. Whereas though in our read 2, those guys are going to now sync, and once they see the exchange, it's a lot easier for those guys to switch responsibilities. All right, so here we have a 2-by-2, 11 personnel. All right. Now the Will has the apex out of the box, which leaves us vulnerable in the B gap. So if the Will were to have to take 2 to the flats, let's say if they were to run some type of zone read scheme. All right. If they were to go zone read, all right, if this guy climbs here or if they were to lock this tackle here, now everybody zones that way. That guy is going to cut right back through that B gap and probably bust his head on the goalpost. So what we do is, because in that situation, the Will's rules and quarters tell him he has 2 to the flats, he would have to expand with that. Now, obviously, we can get our safety involved in that run game and take that B gap. But what we'll do also is we can check cloud here. And now the Will keeps eyes on the B gap because he has no responsibility for 2 to the flats. So if they do run zone, if they lock that tackle on that dog, now the Will's going to run through that B gap right now and try to make that tackle at or behind the line of scrimmage. Now the safety knows he has 2 vertical, all right, and if they run bubble, the corner will take the bubble and the safety gets over top of number 1. If they go RPO and run that and try to run that H behind that Will, the safety is now going to drive on the vertical of number 2 or the slant of number 2 in our cloud coverage. All right, here's a 2-by-2 with both of those guys detached. All right, now because the nose is to this side, the Will's still responsible for the B gap, so we can check cloud here as well. Or again, if we don't check cloud, If that will has to take two to the flats, that safety understands right now he's got to be fast into the fit to make up for our deficit in the B gap. All right, so here we are with a 2x2. All right, 11 personnel. So we've got our Sam linebacker here. All right, he's now lined up in a 90 technique outside of that tight end, sorry. Mike is in the box. Now the wheel is out of the box. All right, the wheel is out of the box. Now we're playing a different front. We have 2 tools in the game. So now we can manipulate with our front which gap that wheel linebacker has. All right. If we allow those guys the 2 gap, now the wheel knows he has to fall into the fit, but he has to read off of this guy. But most likely we would probably slant that guy away from the wheel to get him back in the box, or we can slant him to the wheel. Now the wheel knows he has to be an A-gap player to that side. All right, but from a run game standpoint, again, because he's responsible for that inside gap, he doesn't have to expand it all in his drop. With the cloud coverage, now he knows that he's basically responsible for the seam, which is where he's already lined up at pre-snap. So you can see him dropping. He takes his run read, he drops to the seam. When he sees that 2 go out, he knows he has a hard corner here. So all he does is continue to get depth and now take the number 1 coming in. All right, ball goes to the flats. Because we're in read 2 now, that corner, and now as opposed to taking all of 1, he now has 2 to the flats right now. 2 goes to the flats. He puts his foot in the ground, drives down on it. All right, we'll take that 3-yard gain on first down, puts him in 2nd and 7. I like our odds in that situation. All right, for us, winning first down is pretty much minimizing. It's pretty much limiting the team to 3 yards or less on first down. All right, if you take a look down here, all right, this guy's responsible for 2 to the flats. 2 and 3 stays in the block. He looks out to 1. All right, but he doesn't run out to 1 because he has no immediate threat in the flats. All right, here we are. Again, we've got quarters to the top, cloud or 2 read to the bottom. All right, so we take a look at the top. Again, this guy goes shallow, so he goes into the mic. This guy's now responsible for the 3 coming out to the flats. All right, safety. Now, he's going to get a little bit more depth because of the down and distance, 3rd and 15. But if it was 1st and 10 or 2nd and 10 or less, he would be flat-footed, looking to drive on this inside route by number 1. As you see, corner is top shoulder here. All right, so here's a situation we talked about in terms of why we play cloud sometime with a tight split by 1 and 2. They're going to get a quick exchange. This guy, all right, runs the post. That guy runs the wheel. Look at how easy we pass it off from a corner and safety standpoint. All right. The corner already knows because we're in 2, that he's going to see that dig or post coming from number 1. He just continues to get depth and stays on top of the wheel route by 2. All right. And lastly, look at our wheel linebacker. He's just getting vertical. He knows he doesn't have to get any width unless he gets a push call from the mic, or a smash call from the corner, alerting him to get out to the flats. So he's just getting depth. All right, right in position to make a play. Take a look at it from this angle. All right, pretty good picture of it from the end zone angle here. Excuse me. All right, so as you can see, that guy just pretty much backpedal straight down the hash. Nothing makes him get width. All right. Now, again, because of down and distance, we're out leveraging the shallow cross from 2 coming across. All right. And we'll play downhill on it, but we're staying inside of the new number 2 trying to run that dig route.